This video is on the mental game of a 4-hour marathon. I know a lot of you that watch my videos are very close to breaking this barrier. Maybe you're several minutes from breaking this barrier. Maybe you're even over an hour from breaking the sub 4-hour marathon barrier. Maybe you're at 5:02 or you're at 5:30 and you're trying to get down to 3:59:59. My recommendation, especially when it comes to the mental game of a 4-hour marathon, is patience. Patience and persistence. Those are the two key factors you have to have as a sub 4-hour marathon runner. The majority of athletes out there, myself included, get to a point where you get in that flow state in several years. Sometimes it takes several months. You can break a sub 4-hour marathon. It really depends on where you're particularly at. If you're at 4:06 or you're at 4:02, you're very close to breaking 4 hours. If you're 4:45 or you're at 5:10, it may take you several more years to get to that 3:59. But as I said in other videos, the key thing is you eventually get to that time, no matter how long it takes. You don't let up. You don't quit. You don't let go of your dream of breaking that sub 4-hour marathon. And a lot of times, it took me from 1992 all the way to 2007 to get to that flow state where the marathon distance was effortless, where I was in and I never got it again. But again, if I would have stopped in all those years of buildup from 1992 when I was 15 and started running in high school, all the way up to 2007, if I would have let up 1 inch, I don't think I would have ever gotten to that point of that flow state. And for a sub 4-hour marathoner, that's what you want. You want to get to the point where the marathon feels like you're not really hurting until like the last 5 kilometers of the race. That's not easy to do because the marathon is so complex. There's so many moving parts when it comes to this: nutrition, pacing, running the tangents in the race, running, like I mentioned earlier, pacing. You're running a negative split. You're not running too fast in the first half, or maybe a positive split. You're running much faster in the first half, and you run much slower in the second half, but you still get to that 3:59 time. So the mental game of a 4-hour marathon comes down to strategizing, getting a proper plan in place, planning out your races for the entire 6-month block of training, or the 1-year block of training if you're giving yourself a year of training, provided you're giving yourself about 2 weeks to a month of recovery in between in that 12-month block. Don't train for a full year with no recovery when you're training for a 4-hour marathon. I think that if other runners around the world can break this barrier, why can't you? If you're at 5:02, why can't you get to 3:59? What's stopping you? Is it a mental block? Is it are you trying to chop down too much time all at once? Are you trying to go from, say, 5:02 to 3:59 in 6 months? That's a big ask. A lot of times we place too much stress, too much emphasis on our goals that we want to hit immediately, when really we want to get it done in like a few months, when really it's going to take you a few years to get to that point. And I know that's not what a lot of athletes want to hear. Who doesn't want quick results? And I know a lot of runners out there, and you may be one of them, that really want that 3 anything before their marathon time. They want a 3:59, or they want a 3:20, or they want a 3:10. I don't care what I got to do, but I want that 3. I'm sick of 4s. I'm sick of 5s. I've done everything I possibly think that I can do in the past. So I'm looking for a new strategy. The new strategy, the mental game of a 4-hour marathon, is you look at what has not worked in the past and start changing up your strategy. Have you been running too much of your aerobic mileage too easy? You're too much of your mileage too aerobically, and you need to run more of your mileage at a higher percentage at your goal marathon race pace or at your anaerobic threshold pace. The world's top distance runners, and again, not everybody is an elite athlete. Not everybody's trying to be an Olympic caliber athlete, but the world's top runners are running around 30 to 40% of their weekly volume at around 88 to 92% of their max heart rate or faster. So they, of course, make it look easy for a reason. It's not because they're Kenyan. It's not because they're Ethiopian. It's not because they're from another country or, it's because they're putting in more quality mileage versus just volume. So again, a lot of times athletes that haven't yet broken 4 hours just need to change up their strategy. Maybe the time frame that you've been preparing for your marathons is too short. 8 to 12 weeks, can you still do it? Yes, athletes out there have done it. But again, that's a 2 to 3 month block of training. That's a short amount of time to really prepare properly. I always tell my runners, athletes I coach, people that visit RunDreamAchieve.com, focus on, I have training plans, focus on a minimum of 16 weeks, but really if you're training for a half marathon or a marathon and trying to break 4 hours, 20 to 24 weeks. Okay, 5 to 6 months is the way to go. Now again, I'm not saying you can't do it in 3 months or in 8 or in 2 months, but again, it does take about up to 3 to 4 weeks for your body to adapt. Okay, so the more time you're giving yourself to really prepare properly for a 4-hour marathon, a sub 4-hour marathon, the better you're going to be mentally, psychologically, because again, you're not trying to cram all of your training in a short amount of time. You're giving yourself more time to adapt, more time to really do it correctly. Okay. I also have a course that I created on RunDreamAchieve.com you may be interested in. It's called the Sub 4-Hour Marathon Mastery Course, where I pretty much go from A to Z on everything that I've been taught by 3 of the world's top distance running coaches I was very fortunate to work with. Jack Hazen, who's my collegiate coach, the late Dr. Joe Vigil, and also Lisa Rainsberger, who coached me when I was with the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program. She won the Boston Marathon in 1985. Extremely tough athlete. She ran like 51:20 for 10 miles, or 52:10 for 10 miles, 2:28 for the marathon. Very, very tough runner when she was in her prime. But I was very fortunate to work with those athletes, and I share exactly every possible avenue that you should be thinking about to get down under 4 hours in that course. So that might be something you're interested in. You can check out, click on the courses tab on RunDreamAchieve.com under the services tab. You'll see a courses button. You can check that out and see the various courses that are on the website. But the mental game of a 4-hour marathon is you don't let up. You stay tenacious about what you're doing. You focus on what you want to do, which is to get across that finish line with 3:59:59 on the clock. Again, it's a lot of times too, it's changing up things that you didn't do in the past. In other marathon races, have you really focused enough attention on running the tangents? Do you even know what that is? A lot of runners don't, and that just simply means you're running the least amount of distance in the race. So just changing that up, okay? If a right-hand turn's coming up, you need to be on the far right of the road. You don't need to be in the middle of the road or the far left of the road. Don't run further than you need to run. Let your competition not pay attention to this. You change that tactic up, you're going to improve time, okay? Again, you think about, okay, I need to run 9:09 mile pace or 5:41 kilometer pace for this entire distance. How can I get 9:09 mile pace or 5:41 kilometer pace to feel easier? Okay, have your tempo runs been like 5 or 6 miles? If that's the case, you need to get them longer. You need to get that tempo run out to around 10 to 12 miles. The longer you can spend at your anaerobic threshold, running at 88 to 92% of max heart rate, you're going to improve your body's lactate tolerance. You're going to be able to handle sub 4 minute mile pace or sub 4 minute marathon pace more effectively. You're going to slow down less. You're going to be able to handle faster paces. Doing fartlek workouts. One of my favorites was running for an hour, running 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. Okay? And that 1 minute hard was significantly faster, usually around 20 seconds to 30 seconds faster than goal marathon pace, or even faster at times, with 1 minute of recovery. Doing that for an hour. Again, you don't start off in an hour. It might be like 10 minutes of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. Fartlek workouts, where you're speeding up, slowing down. When you get into the race and you're recovered, you've done a 10-day taper, maybe that's a thing you need to change up. Maybe you've done 3-week tapers and you go in your race and you feel flat. Consider doing a 10-day taper. Again, it's changing up your strategy. Okay, but when I mentioned about the fartlek workouts, when you do that over and over again for a 5 to 6 month block of training, you're teaching your body to handle different intensities, different levels of lactic acid buildup, and you can also teach yourself to handle surges that your competitors may be throwing at you in the race. If they start speeding up, you can react and speed up with them. And if they slow down, you can, again, catch back, slow down and get back in your goal pace. But again, you're going to be able to handle those different intensities that your competitors are going to be able to throw at you. And also, you can do that in the race by doing those fartlek sessions over a long period of time. When you make your move, that decisive move, you can continue to handle the faster paces. Again, because you've trained at paces that are significantly faster than sub 4 hour marathon pace. Again, if you're training too much of your volume too aerobically, too slow, yes, you're going to be extremely fit aerobically. You're going to have that endurance, but you're not going to have the stamina and the strength that you need to break 4 hours. So think about these things, okay? The mental game of a 4-hour marathon runner also has to have visualization, mental training into their routine. If you haven't done this in the past, start implementing it now in your future build-ups to breaking 4 hours. Start seeing yourself. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each day, whether it's when you first get up in the morning or when you go to bed at night, visualizing yourself getting across that finish line with 3:59 on the clock. You have to train your mind like you train your body, okay? You can't just train the body hard all the time and not focus on mental rehearsal. If you look at world-class athletes, not just runners, skiers, figure skaters, you see them at times with their eyes closed, visualizing their movements. I've seen it all the time with skiers for sure. But they see themselves doing what they want to do before they're actually in the physical act of doing it. Okay? So the mental game of a sub 4 hour marathon runner, if you truly want to do this, I want you to start visualizing yourself 5 to 10 minutes a day, running fast, passing runners, running the way you want to run, and seeing yourself getting across that finish line. I've used this tactic myself, and I promise you it helped me to set new PRs. So I hope this video on the mental game of a 4-hour marathon runner has been helpful for you. If you have any other questions, leave them below. I'll respond to you. Check out the resources on RunDreamAchieve.com, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.